with unconditional love.
Hello everybody. This week I'm in New York City for the weekend, so I decided to review a couple of the shows I got to see. And the show I'm going to talk about this time is Holler If You Hear Me, the new musical based off the music of Tupac. Holler If You Hear Me, if you have not heard of it, basically they've been working on the show for about 13 years. It's taken a while to get to Broadway. But what they did was they took a lot of Tupac's songs and they incorporated them into this brand new musical. A lot of people would think, oh, it's a Tupac musical, so it's about his life. Kind of like the Carole King musical, but it's completely not. Really, it's a original story, original characters, with the Tupac music brought in and incorporated into the story. It's a really good story. It's about this character who was basically arrested. He was in jail. He came out of jail, and he's trying to reform his life, live in peace. He's trying not to go back to jail again. And he honestly wants a better life for himself out of the gang life. And then there's his brother and a couple of his friends who are still in that drug dealing ghetto world, and they're still incorporated in it, and he's trying to bring them out of it. It really just shows the world of this kind of like urban ghetto, and it just kind of shows the world behind it. I think a lot of people like me, from my background, I grew up in a white suburb, so I really don't know what African Americans deal with, and a lot of them who live in a ghetto atmosphere, and white people too for that matter. I think it's a world a lot of people who grew up with a lot really do not understand how the ghetto neighborhoods worked in some of their cities. I know it doesn't even have to be New York City or Chicago, it can be any kind of city. There's always going to be a ghetto, a lower suburb. In this play, it's current. This musical is very, very current, and I think it kind of just shows what's happening now and troubles that are happening now and stuff that faced Tupac in his life. And this is the kind of music he gave and the kind of music he put out there dealing with these issues. There's a lot of art incorporated into the story, a bunch of sketches from the main character. I'm pretty sure inspired from Tupac. There was a rose growing up from the concrete. There's also this character in a fedora who ended up being one of the characters in the play. There's a lot of just sketching, so just skulls and pit bulls, a lot of these dark images, but they kind of encompass and canvas the whole play. And it was really cool to see how all these sketches basically brought the buildings to life and really were the backdrop for the set. It was a very minimal set, with these sketches kind of bringing the world together as a whole. The characters were all very good in the play. There was Saul Williams, who's a very famous poet, and he stars as the lead character, basically Tupac's character. He was really good. He was a really good rapper, really good poet, and he just had this coolness to him and this easiness to him that basically let the audience in. He was very raw in his acting, but still very, very polished. And I think that's really cool how you can incorporate both of that into your performance. I mean, he was just really great. His emotions, his attitude, he just brought a lot to the play. There's also Christopher Jackson, who a lot of you know from Memphis and The Heights, a lot of other shows. He was just in After Midnight. Christopher Jackson played the brother, and he was still incorporated into the gang life. He was kind of seen as like the head of that area for a lot of his friends and his siblings. He kind of has this inner struggle of trying to make himself a better person for his family, especially his mother. But he's really good at what he does, and money brings him power, so he doesn't want to let go of that power that he's been given. I just think, definitely from seeing him in The Heights, I mean, Christopher Jackson's a really great rapper, he's a really great singer, he's kind of really triple, quadruple threat. He can do anything, and I wasn't really surprised that his performance in the show was good. There was also Ben Thompson, who a lot of people know recently from Matilda. He just got done playing Mr. Trunchbull, and now he's over in Holler If You Hear Me. It's kind of interesting because really he's the only white character in this world, and it's kind of different seeing his perspective on the gang violence and all the stuff going on in the world of play. And plus, he was a really great singer. He played guitar. I mean, he did a lot in the show. So it was just interesting seeing his character interact with the other characters in the play. I think it worked out great because it didn't make him seem awkward or anything. He fit into the world, he had relationships with these characters, and he also gave us perspective on why he's confused about how this gang violence happens and why his friend can't be brought back. And of course, one of the people in the play who I was dying to go see was Tonya Pinkins, who played the mother of Christopher Jackson and a couple other characters in this play. Tonya Pinkins, of course, is amazing at everything she does. She is such a soulful singer. She didn't get too many places to sing in this show, but when she did, you definitely heard her. Tonya Pinkins has such a soulful voice. She commands the stage. It was really cool seeing her in a project like this. If you have not seen Tonya Pinkins live, if you're a theater person, you need to go see Tonya Pinkins in a show. She slays everything, she kills everything. She's fantastic. I think overall, I was really not knowing what I was going into. I know it was going to be a rap-based show. Honestly, I was really surprised about how complex and how complicated this show was. I was expecting more of a jukebox musical, but it was way more. I think this show kind of brought like the ghetto lifestyle and this like suburban area in this really artistic way and kind of presented it to an audience where anybody can access it. I mean, people of all ages, all races, everybody in the show loved it. People were cheering, screaming at the end. I mean, it just kind of shows that your show's successful if you can connect with different audience members. But overall, it was such a great show. It was such a creative show. I can see why they opened in the summer. It's a very much an experimental piece. It was really cool to go see it. If you have a chance this summer or soon, please go see Holler If You Hear Me. It is such a good show, you will not be disappointed. And plus, if you're not really a Tupac fan like me, and you haven't really experienced the music, it's still accessible and you'll still love it regardless. I even love some of the songs now. I know I'm waiting for a cast album, which I hope comes out soon, but I'm really thinking of looking at Tupac's music and exploring it, because I'm really curious now after seeing this show. Just lyrically, from a song standpoint, I mean, Tupac really knew how to rap, he really knew how to write songs. He was a poet, as well as a rapper, as well as a musician. This whole story needed to be told on the Broadway stage because of how current it was and how realistic this could happen right now during our time. And I think during a time of stuff like Trayvon Martin and a lot of gang violence, a lot of black on black violence, a lot of violence against black youth, I think this is really prevalent to our times right now. And I think it was important to tell the story to people like me who are not really immersed in that world and really don't understand what's going on. Well, thank you so much for watching my review of Holler If You Hear Me. Definitely make sure to check out that show. Holler If You Hear Me is playing this summer at the Palace Theater on Broadway in New York City. You can get your tickets online at Broadway.com and of course many other sites. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time on Broadway Baby. California.